Hello, dear friends. It's Carly, and welcome to another episode of the I Learned podcast. If you listened to the most previous episode, I am now on my way home from the store in Humboldt that I went down to help out today. I spent 5 hours there, and it's a 5-hour round trip, and I am going home with my heart so full, like overflowing. I think my heart even got bigger today to be able to handle the amount of happiness and joy and love and just fulfillment. I bounced around that store for 5 hours, handling things and creating value and helping move them forward for their grand opening tomorrow. And there were so many different pieces. That's why I say bouncing. Like, there were so many different pieces that without them even asking, I was able to say something and for it to be like valuable, for me to make suggestions. And so for this to be my first on-site consulting visit, which again I talked more about in the last episode on my way to this visit, for this to be my first time out of the gate, I could not be more proud of what I left behind me at that store and the interactions that I had with all of the different employees, the interactions I had with Amy, and getting to just be there, to kind of be a shock absorber for a minute and to be another person capable of making a decision if she wanted to delegate that decision to me, which she did. So it was just so freaking cool to like point out to her, hey, what about this? And have her be like, oh yeah, we need to do that. And then for her to get called away on something, and as she was looking at me like, dang it, like, I just tell her, like, you go, I can do it, I can get it done. I got Skylar to help me over here. She was my translator into the POS. I'm like, if she can run the POS, we can figure it out. We will make it happen. And so, yeah, Amy was gone for almost an hour. And by the time she came back, I had created a markdown section in their cooler and rearranged the products to make room for that. I added codes to the register and the scale so that stuff would ring through the register. And then because she still wasn't back, I thought, you know what? I got time. I'll go ahead and type up an instructions page for this. So I got that done and emailed to her. So that was just the first hour. So it was just one thing after another of I was flying solo, doing things that she wanted done, and I was able to step into a creator manager role within somebody else's store, somebody else's systems. I mean, their scale wasn't like ours, their POS wasn't like ours, and yet I made it all work. It was like, you know, I learned how to play guitar on my guitar, and this was proof that I can pick up somebody else's freaking guitar and I can play the hell out of it. And it was so funny. We were standing there going over one of the things in their office, which is like just right off the register area. And a vendor walked up and looked right at me and was like, you the boss lady? And I was like, no, it's her. But that was definitely the vibe I felt, was like, yeah, I'm the boss of everything. It was just so bizarre the way, like, I mean, yeah, my skill set got to shine. I mean, there were so many different things to do. There were so many different little pieces that needed finished and kind of quick decisions. We just need to make a decision and just go with it. And yeah, we got a lot done, and it felt so good I'm sure you guys can hear all of that. It's just going over some of our high quality Kansas roadway here. Anywho, it felt so good to be able to offer that much value and know as I'm leaving and driving home that, I mean, I don't think there was anything more I could have done for them today. Like, and we were busy the whole entire time. So yeah, it was such a good day. and so high energy, and I feel energetically like my gas tank is kind of empty, and yet I'm wired at the same time. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure you guys can hear that too. It's a roundabout, which is super fun. Yeah, I don't know how to take that I feel tired and wired all at the same time. Which the wired part could be the massive amount of caffeine that I've had today, which I think came across pretty well in my last episode, if I do say so myself. But yeah, caffeine, that's like my go-to as far as what makes a day a good day. You just start with a pot of coffee, and then, a couple shots of espresso and a cold brew to top it off, and you ought to be good to go. Seems like it makes sense. So now I'm on my way home, and I think the funnest thing about today and what I'm realizing about what I've learned in these last 4.5 years, I talked a lot in the last episode about this being my 5-year anniversary of practicing daily self-care, basically, but finding Abraham Hicks and just kind of changing my life, starting in a different direction, trying something new, and see where it'll take me. And where I started 5 years ago, I could have never even imagined Cecil K's, like my grocery store. I couldn't have imagined that. So there was no freaking way I was going to imagine that I would be a grocery consultant and help other people open grocery stores. Like, talk about inconceivable as far as like what I was capable of coming up with for ideas about what I would be doing in my future. And this is just so much better than anything I could have imagined, and it unfolded so easily, one day at a time, one step at a time. Like, I went in there today, and every single thing that came up where she was like frazzled and like instantly overwhelmed, I was like, it's cool, you just do it like this. And it was just a matter of doing it and getting it done. Like, pallet, there's a pallet there, and she's busy doing something, and so I just go ask her, like, hey, do you got a pallet jack? I can take that pallet off the floor and put it in the back. And she's like, oh yeah, it's in the back, I don't know how to drive it, and blah blah blah. Like, just all the little skills that I was reminded of today, that when I started Cecil K's 4.5 years ago, I did not have any of these. And today I walked in there and rocked it, if I do say so myself, and just handled it. One thing after another. Nothing was a stumper. Not one stumper in the mix. And there was even a little bit of HR issues. We had to talk about Carol, the underperforming employee, and how we're really not satisfied with her performance. And she's like one of the only ones that's an adult and can run the register, and she's about to lose her register privileges. How do we communicate this with her? So that was even a fun little HR topic. And it was so funny to me to see how I responded to that, because I've obviously come a long ways in terms of how direct my approach is, because I saw so much of myself in how they wanted to handle it, which was just to minimize it. Just minimize it, blow it off, get through this moment, and we'll deal with her later. And now I'm like, no, nip it in the bud, because I was a big fan of let's just handle it later, especially when it came to conflict and underperforming employees. I was not great at delivering feedback, and today that is exactly how I would handle it, and I felt confident in that approach and what I would say and how I would say it, and so was able to even coach a little bit around that. So it was just such a fun mix of so many tools in my toolbox got to come out and play today. And I had the last minute idea to take my bag of Sharpies. I have an assortment of Sharpies in all different sizes and colors, and in a bag that says kindness matters. And I had the last minute idea to throw it in. I also brought my gigantic poster paper just in case we really wanted to get crazy. That part didn't get to come out. But my bag of Sharpies came in very handy multiple times. I made so many signs for them. And that was, yeah, it was just so many things that I was Amy. I was her. Like, my time was 3.5 years ago, was the day before my grand opening, and I was her. I know for a fact. I resonated today so hard with where she was. And it was so beautiful because it let me see very clearly how far I've come with my confidence and my masculine energy, like being comfortable in that boss role where I'm responsible for judging your performance and telling you if I don't like it. That was not a skill that I had when I started. And not that I'm, super excited for those situations to come up, but I do feel a lot more comfortable handling those situations when they do come up. So I thought it was funny that there was even one of those baked into this freaking fruitcake of a day. It had so many parts. I can't get over how much I loved it. That 5 hours went by so fast. Seriously, I looked at the clock a couple of times and the time was over. Such a good day. Such a satisfying day. I'm very proud. Very, very proud of all of them things. I think that's good. I'm basically just talking in circles, milking how good this day was. And probably will do some more of that in my head. For now, I thank you once again for tuning in and joining me on this magical journey that is my life unfolding day by day by day. And I love living it, and I love telling you about it. And I'll be back soon with the next episode. Until then, take good care.